YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and I got my 2021 Patriots offseason rebuild going through who to re-sign, who we should target in free agency and NFL draft, taking a look at the cap space situation. But Patriots sitting pretty there, so and they're going to get a lot of opt-outs back, so could be a good season next year for the Patriots depending on their quarterback situation. Did this for almost every team. We're almost finished up with the rest of the teams here. We have plenty of NFL offseason content on the channel. We'll have you covered for all the moves, the big news, the trades, the free agency signings, the NFL draft. We got you. Got you on our Twitter as well, so check that out. Check out walkthemock.com. Very cool draft simulator where we used to do our member mock, which was very recently, and we're doing more of those. If you're going to sign up, use code GOATHOUSE. Makes it cheap. And again, please subscribe to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Here's our Twitter. Just constant news here. About everything going on around the NFL. We got you. And then here's a little cheat sheet. Live cap space projections, depending on the team salary cap, and then potential cuts. So you get a little sneak peek at the Patriots there, what I'm about to do. Cut just some guys that would end up being backups this year where we can get better at. Adrian Phillips saves a little bit of money. AKEEM SPENCE saves a little bit of money. Don't necessarily have to clear the space, but it helps. Patriots got some key free agents to re-sign. So you want to get those key guys back, obviously, that you want back, but you also want to get better too. And it's a team that kind of gets better by default because the opt-out guys coming back. But you want to be able to gain players, get additions here in the offseason. So clear a little bit of space to help out in that category. Long list of players to re-sign. J.C. Jackson could be pretty pricey, but he had a fantastic season. Good young corner out of Maryland, playmaker type, opposite of Gilmore, who was more the lockdown guy. Then you got Joe Thuney. Some talk about him going elsewhere. The Patriots got the money. Again, they got guys opt-outs coming back, so that eliminates some holes. So why create, a hole here? I know that, again, they got some guys coming back. Onwenu looked pretty good, so they probably can make it without Thuney. It's just, I would just prefer to have him back. You have the money. He's a very good guard. Then David Andrews, their center. You might as well bring him back as well so you don't have to deal with the center situation. Damari Bird, I think could be, you want to get better at receiver, but I think he could be a solid rotation receiver. He's been solid so far for them. And then Dietrich Weiss, not a guy that I absolutely have to have back, but the defensive line is kind of getting blown up here. It has not been good. So we'll let some guys walk, so get him back at least. You're probably on the cheaper deal than Nick Folk, who's been a pretty good kicker for them. So this shouldn't be, the top two guys probably be pretty expensive. But after that, some cheap options, and we're still going to have some money left over here. Going into free agency, I think they can add another solid edge rusher opposite of Chase Winovich. Yes, they have Anthony Jennings, Uche, who's kind of that hybrid player, but you get better here. I think they'll like Carl Lawson, from the Bengals. I think he's got a lot of upside, freakish dude. I think they'll like him. Then you can add a receiver like Corey Davis, another guy, I think they'll like, a guy that really improved his game this past season with his footwork, separation, playing inside and out. And then Poona Ford, again, they gotta upgrade the defensive line, the actual defensive front there. Poona Ford should be a sleeper free agent, could be a hot name there. Pretty damn good defensive tackle from the Seahawks. So they add him. And Mac Jones seems to be a popular pick for them. I think they'll like him, and I think he could. They may have to trade up a little bit for him, but with his intangibles, being a smart quarterback, pretty quick, better than given credit for. I think they'll like him. And I feel like even though he's a rookie, I feel like they'll already be in a better situation than they were last year. Pat Freiermuth from Penn State should be the second or third tight end off the board. Definitely Kyle Pitts in a battle between Brevin Jordan and Freiermuth. But I think the Patriots are like that. It seems like they're drafting a ton of tight ends every single year, and they're not afraid to do that. There's a very important position to them. They're looking for that guy. I think they'll like a guy like this, and they won't be afraid to pull the trigger there. And then they may lose James White in free agency, so you get Demetric Felton, who's a running back and a receiver. That kind of helps you 2-for-1 there. So replacement for a guy like James White. But also, it doesn't hurt to add to the receiver unit because it can get better here. So I do like the idea of that. Going into another situation, they would love to trade for Deshaun Watson, more polished guys. Don't think it's realistic. How about Jameis Winston? I kind of wanted them to get Winston last year. I'm kind of glad they didn't now just because the defense ended up being not the Patriots defense, mainly because of opt-outs. But I think this defense can, with retooling the defensive line a little bit, this defense can get back on track to being a Patriots defense. And I think Winston, if you pair him with a really good defense, I think that's fantastic because he's going to get yards, he's going to get points. Yes, he's going to turn the ball over, but if he's got a defense to overcome that, that's fantastic. But at the same time, Winston, even in his bad games, he would still push the ball and get yards and get points. So, look at last year, the Patriots just, early in the year, they're able to get creative, run the ball, a little more, especially with Cam, it's a unique style offense that people didn't really know. This isn't the Patriots that we know. It's tough to game plan against, So it worked a little bit, and teams caught on, and it was just so tough to move the ball, and they were turning the ball over. So, if you're going to turn the ball over, at least get a guy that's going to push the ball downfield. And obviously, perfect world, you want a guy that's going to do everything, and not turn the ball over. But it's going to be hard to find that. Maybe Mac Jones is the best option there. So I would like Jameis Winston back there. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think will end up kind of being that top receiver target in free agency because this guy's going to, Galladay, Godwin, franchise tag, Robinson, maybe a tag and trade. I don't know how much you want to pay him and then trade for it, with that situation. Fuller, probably a tag or an extension with the Texans. So it ends up being Juju Smith-Schuster, maybe Corey Davis are the top options. So the Patriots just want to, enough messing around with these, maybe they'll be good guys, some solid guys that really shouldn't be receiver ones. Let's go get a legit receiver one. And then you enough messing around with these rookie tight ends. We're missing Gronk. Let's go get that legit tight end one and Hunter Henry. We're supplying because Winston, for him to get that production, he needs that talent because remember what he had in Buccaneers. So you get him that talent. And you go into the draft. I think a guy like KWITY PAYE, pair the Michigan edge rushers together. Sometimes you see that it's a little bit of a unique defense. Winovich, maybe standing up pass rusher at times could put his hand in the dirt. KWITY PAYE is going to put his hand in the dirt. I think they'll like Tommy Tagai as well, a guy in the defensive line that can move around a bit. Again, they need more of the actual defensive linemen here. There needs to be better. Some veteran guys were disappointing. They're free agents this year. And then they could add a corner because I do like the starting duo in this scenario, but Gilmore's got one more year left. Some trade talks, maybe extension talks happen. But you can add another one. I think they'll like Benjamin St. Juste from Minnesota, who is a very long and athletic corner there on the outside. So I think they'll like him. It's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do because they have money and they're getting guys back, from opt-outs. So they're already a better team. People kind of forget that. They're already a better team, but they need a quarterback, And it should be, an appealing. People talk about teams are going to go to the contending teams, but if they get a quarterback, this becomes once again like what we're used to, one of the more appealing landing spots, just like that. But I guess easier said than done there. Let's see what they do with this cap space. Let's see if they load a free agents. Let's see who they let walk there, what they decide. Can't wait to see all that and to cover it. That's going to do it for the Patriots rebuild. We did this for almost every team. We got about 3 days left of rebuilds to come, and then back to our normal offseason content. Talking about free agency, the NFL draft. We grade every single free agency signing once that starts. Covered J.J. Watt signing with the Cardinals already on Twitter and in a video, so check that out. But, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.